This is a message from the emergency podcast broadcast system. Please listen closely for a very important episode of the Amish Baby Machine Pop Culture Podcast.
Warning: the following podcast contains adult language and childish comedy. Listener discretion is advised. And now, please adjust your headphone volume to an unreasonable level and enjoy the most dynamic and electrifyingly entertaining podcast ever to conquer cyberspace. This is
Amish Baby Machine.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the most powerful podcast ever created, the Amish Baby Machine Pop Culture Podcast starring me, Dags. Today, we have another powerful emergency episode. We have powerful two guests tonight, Mike Rez from the powerful Mike Rez Radio, and Chris, the master of Nitro Wave TC, powerful Synthwave collective. Welcome, both of you, gentlemen.
Good evening, Dags. How are you?
It's an honor.
I am doing powerfully tonight.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm really glad to hear it.
Yep. Yeah, nothing makes me feel better. That's for sure. That's what I was waiting for tonight, to hear that.
Now, what are your powerful thoughts? The commissar of Minnesota has us on lockdown. What are your thoughts? Is this the real deal?
It sounded like the real deal, and then when you dig into who's essential, it's still 80% of the workforce.
Wait, so 80%?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's like, wow. Is anything really changing? Because 80% of us are still going to work in the morning, and at night and in the afternoon. So I don't know. I guess there'll be less traffic for me tomorrow when I go back to work.
So this 20%, I mean, we're talking obviously service industry was getting hit pretty hard there. Hotels. What else would it be?
Some retail, from what I hear.
Yeah. Yep.
Podcasters.
And, not podcasters. Yeah. Stay-at-home podcasters.
You know, and I was talking about essential things. You know what's essential is me making my Taco Bell run.
Oh, yes. How was your Taco Bell run the last couple days?
God bless the workers of Taco Bell. Today I enjoyed Arby's.
Oh. How was the Arby's run?
Yeah, I should talk about that. Just real quick, though, I want to thank everyone that listens to this powerful episode. It's very powerful today. Thank you. I know you're all in your bunkers. It's getting really sweaty and smelly down there. But God bless you for tuning in. Is that a 810 Warthog or what is it? I hear something in the background.
Oh, yeah, that's, it's going to go along with our topic that's coming up. I'll have to tell you about it later. I can't tell you about it now.
Oh, my gosh.
Powerful. It sounded like a strafing run of an 810 Warthog.
Yeah, Dags, we can't talk about it right now. We have to wait.
We will talk about it on this powerful episode. Guys, tonight this is a powerful episode. We're going to talk about Synthwave, and we're going to talk about a powerful 80s movie.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Mike Rez, tell the fans, the Flock of Amish, what movie we're going to talk about tonight.
Tonight we're talking about the classic 1980s movie,
1984, by the way.
84. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Good year in cinema.
Starring a lot of people that everyone will know, and we'll get into the cast when we talk about it. But Red Dawn, very powerful.
Now, Chris, I gotta ask you: do you realize how many powerful movies came out in 1984?
You know, that's actually a really good question. I was searching in the back of my head some of the movies, so that would have put me right around 5 years old. And I'm going to shoot from the hip here a little bit, but some of the things that my old man was bringing home on either Laserdisc or VHS would have been, Tron, Never Ending Story. Obviously, we've got Red Dawn here. What do you think, Mike? Any others you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh, just off the top of my head, we have Ghostbusters, Gremlins, The Terminator, The Karate Kid, Indiana Jones, Beverly Hills Cop. Still shooting
Nightmare
off the
on Elm
top of
Street.
my head.
Yeah. Yep.
Amadeus.
Freddy Krueger.
16 Candles. Police Academy.
Nice.
Romancing the Stone.
I mean, I just think about that, how powerful that is.
You know, I used to have nightmares about Romancing the Stone as a kid. Wasn't that the one where the crocodile bit the guy's hand off? Or do you guys remember that by chance?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it? Oh my God.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, though. Spoiler.
Yeah. Oh, is it? I have no idea where it happens in the movie. That could be the opening scene. That just gave me nightmares for years.
I do remember the movie Romancing the Bone. That gave me nightmares also.
Oh, yeah.
Oof, that sounds rough. Yeah, absolutely.
Powerful.
Which one was that? Was that one of the sequels or was that the original?
It was a different. It was on 8mm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Romancing the Bone.
Absolutely.
Powerful.
8mm.
No.
That took me a second. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll do one of those 810 flyovers.
There we go.
All right, Chris from Nitro Wave TC. Tell the fans of Flock of Amish, if they didn't get a chance to listen to our powerful episode where we talked about the ultimate trends of Synthwave, tell the fans of Flock of Amish a little bit about Synthwave and get into your collective and what's going on in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Synthwave, as far as a genre, if it's something that people are just starting to pick up on here a little bit, I don't know, you call it the year 1984 to a certain degree is steeped within that genre kind of films, starting maybe 1980, 81, right around there as you kind of know, disco seemed to be dying out a little bit. We started to get into some of the, a little bit New Order maybe was out there. We're starting to test and taste electronic music with the rhythm. Wendy Carlos was out there doing, some of the early work in electronic music as well. So all of these places, this has all come together to coalesce into something that's almost like we're to a certain degree, we're creating music for the future that didn't necessarily really happen. Let's say grunge didn't occur. What would have happened with music? Maybe this. It's really an idea concept, something that I think most of the people that I talk to really connect with. There's something deeper about the sounds, the rhythms, the synthesizers, the keyboards that we're using now. It's special, to say the least. And Mike's been a part of it all as well from the beginning, actually. So you've got a double role today, buddy.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun to actually be a part of, even though I'm not the one making music. But I'm the one helping get your music out there. So
I was gonna say you're making it happen, man. That's for sure. That's what it's all about, Yeah. But as far as kind of our mission too, we're here in the Twin Cities. We're a local music. Gosh, we have a working definition, and I kind of wish I had it pulled up in front of me. I'm not going to cheat and look it up on my phone, but essentially, it runs along the lines of being a community of musicians. We're not a collective. You can come because we get together once a month. If you want to be a part of this, that's totally cool. If you want to leave, that's fine as well. The door is open for people. And so we're learning from each other. We all have a similar love of the same kind of music, the same similar genre, I guess you could say. And are using our talents collectively. Mike on the call here, he's, I don't know, buddy, you're a media machine. Like, you connect with people. You're not afraid to talk to anybody. You book shows. You're talented. Other musicians, we've got, Galaxy 80, who has released a couple vinyl records and has got his own amazing history that maybe someday we'll get him on your show and, have him talk about that. Denotive, who's got music released on the new Retro Wave website that's had 2 million views. So this talent, videographers, writers, photographers, all are all a piece of this community. And I think that's what sets us all apart. It's kind of fun. It's been special.
Now, how did you create this yourself, this community?
No. This not even close.
The Nitro Wave TC I'm talking about.
Right. No, not even. I think I was a catalyst, but I don't know if I could say I was a sole creator, because life is a series of coincidence. And Mike, I know I met Mike through Twitter. One of us saw one another's posts and said, hey, maybe someday we have a shared interest. Other people, it's been the same way. Sitting down, you start to realize that as musicians and creators, we're trying to do something, but as a genre, a type of music, a style, we haven't really fit in anywhere yet. And so we got to do it together. And it's amazing what a group of people with a common goal can accomplish.
I'm trying to get down to the actual how it happened, how the origin of the actual Nitro Wave.
That's a fun story.
Yeah, let's hear it. We have all the time in the world. How did your actual community get together?
All right. So how it started was Chris was actually on the Two Poor Bastards podcast, and those three, him and Kyle and Eric, got together, and they kind of got Chris on their show, and they realized that the three of them have a shared interest. And then, like Chris said, he and I kind of hooked up because I was starting the new format on my radio show, and he was actually my first guest on the radio show. And then Eric and Kyle came on like the third show. And then after that, Chris and Eric and I started talking about, what happened if we kind of formed a group or got a party together at Can Wonderland for an EP release. And then all of a sudden I got an email or a text from Chris, I believe, that said, "Hey, I found like 6 other people in the Twin Cities that kind of want to get together." Because what was it? Neon Fox that got the
that listing? Was my footnote right there. I was just going to interrupt you. There's a podcaster and what do you want to say? Like kind of a music writer, a guy who does a lot of things for the synthwave community globally, who I got connected with through Twitter. It's a great way to meet people. And he created a Twitter group that was Minnesota Synthwave. And he dropped a half dozen of us in there, maybe. And so I just started messaging a few of these, and others came into the picture slowly, over the course of a few months, I suppose, or 4 or 5 months. But Mike, you summed it up nicely. I think you really did, because it was these chance meetings and us coming together and the right people who just, I don't know, I feel like kind of wanted to do something cool with their time.
Yeah, now the first meeting that we had, so I think there was 6 or 7 of us at that first meeting, and we were at Can Wonderland, and we all kind of got together, and I think it was even Night Audit. He thought we were just getting together to talk about equipment. That was about it.
That's right.
And to his surprise, we were talking about performing and coming together and forming this community of artists. And then it was kind of like a situation where we were trying to figure out who was on board and who wasn't. And they all said they were on board. So they were like, "Well, what's the next step?" And I said, "Well, let me take you back to the stage, because if you guys want, we're already booked." So
we got this.
Kind of like a surprise. You thank God you guys said yes, otherwise there wouldn't be a show. So that's kind of how it started, and then it snowballed from there. And we did a couple of shows before that, and then the Can show in December was kind of like the icing on the cake for 2019. So.
Yeah.
So where did the name Nitro Wave TC come from?
I think that was a denotive name, wasn't it? Wasn't he that came up with that?
Yeah, he's a big fan of puns and wordplay, and I've never approached him directly about it, but I've got a feeling it came from this European synthwave group called New Retro Wave. Nitro Wave sounds a lot like that, and knowing that, he was having some fun with that. That's my theory. Mike, what do you think? Maybe?
Yeah. From what I remember, I think he threw it out there just kind of like a joke, because everything in like the synthwave world has the word wave after it, and then that kind of like he said it and everyone kind of stopped. And it was like, okay, we can go at that. So what's the logo look like? And then everyone was, well, how about a boat? Because we're in Minnesota, and a pine tree. And that sounds like everything kind of came together for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we really had fun playing around with some of those, the classic tropes of synthwave right now. Like, I don't think we necessarily have the laser grid in our logo, but like you said, we've got the cigar boat instead of the palm tree. We've got a pine tree. We've got that triangle at a slight off tilt look to it. Neon colors. It's been fun. No other way to put it.
Now, where did all that come from? Is it from Miami Vice, or where is the pastels come from?
Oh,
I think.
Man,
Well, Denotive's girlfriend is a graphic designer. I think she just kind of picked some colors.
No, but I meant
And,
synthwave in a whole. When I
in
look
general.
at it, yeah, it's
Oh,
always magentas,
yeah.
pinks. There's always there's palm
You know-
trees. Is it the Miami Vice? Is that where it's from?
Well, I think that's it. And it's funny that of all things, we're talking about 1984 this year, because I swear this is the honest to God truth. My family photos from 1984, and the bright neons, that was the early 90s, but 1984 had a lot of these kind of softer pastel colors. I had a shirt with flamingos with palm trees on it that actually had kind of the sunset type of a deal, looking back at photographs, skateboard images, graphic prints. There's a lot of stuff that was around when I was, again, when we were pretty young, which makes it kind of fun and special.
Now, what mainstream bands do you think influenced synthwave? What is it an offshoot of?
What do you think, Mike? Do you wanna start it, or should I run with it here?
No, go ahead.
I'm talking a lot. So.
I'm trying. No, that's okay. I'm going to be talking a lot later. So.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. I'm good at it. I'll keep going then. So as far as the origins of synthwave, it seems like a lot of it comes from out of Italian disco or Italia disco, or honestly, I don't know a whole lot about that part of the roots of this genre of music. I should explore it more in depth. But it seems like a lot of people, at least here in the States, the origin from it, where it started was actually a movie soundtrack. A couple of them for me personally stand out, but the movie Drive was a huge influence in the development and the growth of this genre. The genre started probably right around 2012 or so itself, with bands like Electric Youth and College. Were both bands on that movie soundtrack specifically. And if you ever get a chance to check it out, it's amazing. It's really good music, and it was something that we hadn't heard in years. I hadn't heard in years, at the very least, or really ever.
Now, what bands are on the soundtrack of Drive?
Drive? Let me think about that for a second here. No, I mentioned,
I'll pull it up here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go for it. I know, like I said, Electric Youth was one of them. College. Now I got to think. I'm glad Mike's pulling it up here. I'm racking my brain. I'm having a moment.
Electric Youth in College, the Chromatics, Cliff Martinez.
There we go. Yep.
Cliff Martinez has quite a bit on here, actually.
Cliff Martinez is a film composer who is phenomenal as well. That was a huge influence on some of my personal work, just to throw that out there. So, yeah. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Kavinsky and Love Fox.
Yep. How could I
around there? And
Night Call.
Yep, and Riz Ortolani is on there as well.
Was that
Rez?
Rez?
I have to hear that song.
It could be Rez. It's Riz. R-I-Z.
There you go.
It's close.
Right?
Close relative.
Yeah. That's it. And the one thing that's pretty cool about it too, the movie itself is definitely a dope film, but like the vinyl, all the production, everything that's gone into it takes a lot of that neon aesthetic into play. The neon signs, the pink, again, maybe some of the purple, all of that. So it's been pretty. It's been cool. It's been a fun genre. Again, it's something different and fresh that I haven't had a chance to be a part of. So
now stand by on this, Mike. But I want to know, what is the difference between chill wave, dark wave, all these offshoots?
Oh man, you're kind of asking maybe the wrong person. The only reason I say that is I don't know if there is any dark wave, I guess, kind of brings that additional, I don't know if I can even say industrial element to it. People will slap me for saying that. But we're talking grittier, heavier synths, faster rhythms.
More bassy, I think, in dark wave.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that one. Chill wave, the only chill wave I'm familiar with is through an act that was associated with Nitro Wave, Mitchell Jasper Mitchell is what he goes by. And so that's it seems like a very a very light, mellow music with a steady drive to it. A lot of the tracks seem to be around 6 to 7 minutes in length. Again, kind of the stuff that you'd relax to listen to. And so across the spectrum, you're going to find a number of different other types of waves, I guess you could say. But really like Dreamwave, which includes a lot of light, poppy, bubbly noises, maybe at times, or sounds. Time Cop's really well known for that genre. Where I seem to fall a bit more is on the line between Dreamwave and cinematic retro wave. Seems to be the area where I fall. So we're honestly, we're naming ourselves at this point yet. The genre is so new. We're trying to figure it out. And that's what makes it so exciting as well.
Now I want to play devil's advocate here. How do you prevent your music from sounding generic?
That's a great question. Creative changes, small changes in the sounds of instruments. And the upcoming release that I have coming out, at least something that I've really focused a lot on that's heavy in synthwave, is the use of arpeggios. And so as I'm writing songs and I'm sitting down and I'm listening and playing through these arpeggios repeatedly, I'm listening for very small ways that I can change them that you might not necessarily hear or notice.
Now explain to us what an arpeggio is.
It's essentially it's a scale. It's a series of notes that build maybe from low to high, or just kind of a rolling series of notes that play a light melody that might be just a few measures in length. So it's usually a very basic melody, but again, taking those basic elements, slight changes. Spending time exploring old synthesizers and finding sounds. I'm on Craigslist way too much. eBay way too much. Looking for old pieces of gear that I can get for next to nothing if possible, and setting it up in the studio. And I'll sit down in the basement studio for hours, playing through 1,000 sound patches with a notebook, giving it a 4-star, 3-star sound, or a dark wave star sound. This is more of a dreamwave sound. And so that's, I think, part of the discovery process right now as well.
Have you ever thought of dressing like Liberace during your live performances?
Eric from the for real. Eric from the Paradise Arcade podcast told me I need to dress up like a wizard next time, perhaps, especially with a beard. He said a hood with a long cape. Maybe I could shoot, I don't know, Sith laser things from my fingers or whatever, the lightning bolts. We'll see.
Because I have a lot of powerful ideas, and I'll get with you after this show.
Excellent. I like this. This is awesome. It sounds good. Well, one thing that I will be doing too for the live sets at some point, we'll definitely we have to talk. I'll be bringing in a guitarist for a few tracks, which is going to be a nice element to add to just keep things moving on stage. Because a lot of these live sets, I'm using primarily MIDI to run my synthesizers and keyboards where I'm playing one part, and that's, it's not always a great spectator sport. So you got to think of other ways to enhance your show and make it more enjoyable.
Now, in this world we live in, this apocalyptic world of powerful viruses, be them man-made or not, what is the future of live performances, do you think? Do you think this is going to alter it forever?
I think it will for some time. I'm really curious to see what'll happen, because right now we've talked a lot about what could happen, and we've held on to the last minute to not cancel a show at this point. And then we were going to put it in one of our basements, and we were all going to go to the same house, and we are going to do a streaming show together. And then things got a little bit more hot, and we decided that's not possible. So we're still moving away from the live show, but I'm looking to the future, to your point. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, to be honest. I think we're still going to have live streams. We'll probably, I don't know. I hope people come out to the clubs again, but I hope we don't do it too soon to go through all this stuff again, too.
I think streaming will take over part of it, because I think people are starting to realize that streaming, either recorded or live, isn't as hard as people thought it was. Mm-hmm. And as technology's gotten better, it's gotten easier. So I don't think streaming is going to take over for live performances, because there'll still be people who want to go see live. But I think there'll be more shows that will be streamed coming out of this, for sure.
I think you've got it, Mike. Like pay-per-view type shows. I think about on Sundays when I sit at home and I'm watching a football game, or in the summer when I'm watching a baseball game, I'm just as happy. Well, I mean, I like going, don't get me wrong, but if I can sit there and see the live event as it's unfolding, sit on my patio and maybe grill some brats or something, and then sit down on the sofa and watch a little bit of the game at the same time, that's a great experience too.
But it's tough to get that energy transfer. Like when you see something live, it's, you know, it's visceral. You have the smells, the sounds, the energy. Like when I used to go to a concert, I would get excited and you would hear everyone talking in line about their favorite songs. And then to me, you smell someone lighting up a joint and you're like, oh, it's on. And then all of a sudden you'd see the little roadies and the red lights, and then the lights would go dark.
Oh.
I mean, that power, that's the problem with live streaming. I don't know how we can get that back, but it's kind of like a comedy show. When you go to a comedy show, I mean, that just rattles your bones.
Right. I think what stands out to me, like something you would never get on a live stream or a stream in general, was if you go back to that Can show that we were all at, when Bad and Rad did his warm up and brought out the voice box, everybody got excited and everybody started getting closer to the stage, and everyone's face just kind of lit up and everyone was looking at each other. You wouldn't get that on a stream, you know? So, I mean, to your point, Dags, the energy was there before he even started playing, you know, and it grabbed everyone's attention.
Let's do an energy transfer right now. What are you guys drinking right now? What are we drinking? I have Rocky Mountain Refreshment in my hand right now, actually.
Well, I finished a Coca-Cola around 5, and now I'm finishing my 32 ounces of water, I guess, here. So I need a beer.
What do you have, Dags?
I'm enjoying powerful 28 ounces of purple Powerade. God, I love it. Powerful.
Is that the same Powerade that you had the other day?
It's
Are you nursing that thing?
No, I'm not. Don't make me come over there and beat you. This is a new beverage, a new bottle.
All right, good.
And let's hold this up right now. I salute.
Got mine up.
Hold it up.
All right. Nope. Okay. Here we go.
Here we go. I salute everyone that listens to this. I salute you guys for being a part of it. Right now, I'm going to do a powerful power transfer of positive energy. All right. Thank you. God bless. Salute.
Ooh, that felt good. Yep.
Yeah. So we, on the 27th, Nitro Wave had a show planned at Can Wonderland. That was supposed to be our welcome back party to Can. And
going into 2020.
Yeah. And that's not going to work out as well as everybody had hoped, actually. So we kind of waited as long as we could, and then we canceled, and then a week later everything started closing. So what we're going to try to plan on doing instead, like Chris alluded to earlier, we were going to kind of do like a live show in a basement somewhere and record it and do all that cool stuff. But that's not going to happen either now. So some of the acts that we're going to be performing are going to have something planned, and then hopefully in the next week or two, we'll have something edited together to be able to put out to the masses. But kind of like what we were talking about earlier, for the time being, I think that's what we're going to have to do. We do have 2 more shows that are on the books for Nitro Wave, but
we do.
Only time will tell if we'll be able to get those in. At least, hopefully, one of them is far enough out in the future we can still get that one in. But the next one that we have planned coming up in May, that's up in the air. So
I think it's May 24th or 21st.
21st, something like that. Yeah.
Uptown BFW. Yeah, which is a real heartbreaker because, I mean, even if we do get it together, you talk about, who's going to be coming out yet at that point in time. But I don't know, maybe people will be really looking forward to getting out and all this stuff will have resolved itself, which would be cool. But July, we'll see. That's all up in the air as well. We initially had planned some of our Synthwave friends from Europe were going to be coming, specifically Finland, flying here to the States to play a New York show, a Toronto show, and a Minneapolis show. I should say St. Paul show, I guess, because it would be at the Amsterdam large hall. But because of COVID-19, and I think that's the main reason, really. And getting visas right now is, well, you can't at the moment. So, but even prior to that, they were finding it was a very difficult process for an artist or musician to start getting it all together. Because I know, Mike, you looked at it. I started looking at it. And it seemed like collectively we weren't finding great direction, I guess, yet. So more to come, I think. Everybody's is getting a little bit set back, but we're trying to figure out ways to still connect and have fun.
Do you think there's going to be cool underground meetings, like cool speakeasies and places where people gather, and then you listen for the cops, like the old parties you used to have when you were a kid down by the river?
Yeah, right.
Because
you just got to be able to trust your lookout, though. That's the only issue.
I love it here where they go, "Oh, it's not martial law. We allow you to do things." Yeah, they allow us. What kind of freedom is that?
You're allowed to have freedom when they tell you to.
Yes.
It's the beauty of this country.
I feel this powerful oppression. That this should stimulate you guys to create powerful new music. What do you think?
Oh,
Like the 80s. We talk about the 80s, the height of the Cold War, Ronald Reagan and Gorbachev. Look what kind of power art that created. I feel we need to focus this powerful virus. What do you call it? Corona, COVID. What do you guys like to call it?
COVID.
You like COVID?
COVID. I don't like saying it because it just sounds weird, but I'm so lazy. I hate saying coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's a long word for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you like to call it?
I'll go with COVID. Yeah. I go with COVID. It seems.
You don't put the 19
like the best name. Nah, I like it slang. It's a little bit cooler without the 19. Maybe I'll start calling it 19.
Well, how about the average age of the combat soldier in Vietnam was 19.
Jeez,
do you remember that powerful song?
No, I don't remember that.
No,
what's that? What song was that? If it wasn't in Tron, I didn't hear it. That's
19.
Do it.
19. Powerful. Check it out.
I probably. Let's not talk about it because I'm going to be embarrassed once I realize what you're talking about.
Fine.
That's parts make me nervous. So. I think though, Diggs, I want to go back to what you were talking about. The opportunity to do something special and creative. And I think one of the neat things about synthwave in general is this kind of concept of a better future and hope is out there as well, with a good chunk of the genre. And I've got a strong feeling, and it's been something that's been in the back of my head a bit more. But it hits people on an emotional level in many ways, and so I think we're onto something that people are really going to want. I'm very excited to start sharing some of the music that the Nitro Wave people are putting together and are going to be releasing by the time this is over. D Notive's in the studio wrapping up an album. I'm wrapping up my own album. Galaxy 80 is working on something. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. Grey Beats is another artist. Yeah.
Grey Beat's coming out with something in July, and I got to hear a little bit of it already. So
he's sent it. I haven't listened to it yet. That's kind of my thing this weekend since I'm home alone. So I'm excited.
Can you get Mike Rez involved somehow? Maybe like a tambourine or something.
I want him to be my dancer, like the Boss Tones. That's what I'm looking for.
If you're looking for somebody to play air tambourine,
there we go.
I'm the guy. But yeah, I would love to shake a maraca.
Yeah, his hips don't lie. I'll tell you that right now.
You know what?
They do not.
Shaking.
Taking a lie detector test and passed.
But I'm hoping this shutdown and everything is going to get the powerful creative juices flowing, and people are going to make cool art. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It seems like there's a lot of people doing some cool stuff, and even just little things popping up on Instagram. Even you see snippets, it's cool.
But it's kind of weird that you're talking about the future and synthwave is a utopia, not a dystopia. Because typically, like in the '80s movies too, the Terminator, it was all this dystopian, and with synthwave, it's a kind of a happy Star Trek-y kind of thing. It's cool to think about.
I would think about that. You get into the dark wave side of it and you get a bit more of that grind, kind of that evil sound. But I think that's exactly it. And that's been a draw for me. I'm a big fan of black metal. I've loved it. Dark Throne is a great band in my opinion. But as well, I needed that contrast. And you'll see that there's a lot of people who are into those two genres that seem to cross over one another for some reason. Pretty cool stuff.
That is cool. I'm a big fan of Gary Newman, and he kind of went darker as his music went on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that evolution that's important. And we're starting to see that with some of, the artists that I've been working with and getting to know, that change. And some are going dark, some are going the other direction, but there's a lot of creative new things happening right now.
So what are some bands off the top of your head that you think fans of Synthwave should check out if they don't know about?
Oh man. Well, the Nitro Wave TC bands, right? No.
Yeah.
Sell myself here. North Innsbruck, bitches. No. We need for real, right? Denotive, honestly, like when we're looking at Nitro Wave, for example, Night Audit is phenomenal. I know I'm not going to mention everybody. I'm just going to, he's wonderful. He was one of our first people that we worked with. Denotive does great work. Again, Galaxy 80, who I mentioned earlier. Arcturus V is a younger guy out of the North Woods who is throwing out some crazy cool stuff right now. That
he's our dark wave guy.
Straight up right there. Otherwise, if we're talking big names, people should really check out Gunship. That's a big band with solid production, great visuals that people are going to enjoy. Earlier we had mentioned Electric Youth as being another one of those bands. They've got a lighter, poppier sound. But again, people are going to like this. And those are two great places to get started. The Midnight. I'd mentioned Time Cop 1983 is another great producer out there. I'm throwing out enough. I've dropped a lot of names just now. But yeah.
It's easy to find if you go just hashtag search SynthFam on Twitter or Instagram, and you're going to find a ton of artists out there.
Well, while we're on the topic of social media, I'm going to need you guys to both give out your social medias, how people can get involved, listen to your music, and become a fan of Nitro Wave TC.
Yeah, absolutely. Nitro Wave TC, and Nitro Wave TC, like TwinCities.com. That's our main website right now. It's a fan link currently. But you can also find North Innsbruck at northinnsbruck.com, Nitro Wave TC on Twitter. Mike's running Facebook right now for us as well. So he's awesome to connect with. What else do we have going on, Mike?
We have the Instagram. Steph Wendler runs that. Like Chris said, you can find North Innsbruck on all the social medias, and you can find Mike Rez Radio on everything as well. On Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. More active on Twitter. Yeah, our merch is everywhere. TeePublic is who our main stores are through, but Mike Rez Radio and the 945 show has merch. North Innsbruck has merch, and Nitro Wave TC has merch on there as well. Dags, you've got merch too for Amish Baby Machine, don't you? Why don't you tell us about that?
Thank you. Please check out our merch. AmishBabyMachine.com is our powerful website. I have powerful designs, all original. My latest design is Failed Podcaster. And you can wear that shirt ironically or wear it literally. It doesn't matter. Just wear it. And please enjoy us, Amish Baby Machine, on the internets. At Amish B Machine is Twitter. That's where I am 24/7. I'm always talking to the fans of Flock of Amish. Please enjoy my tweets on Twitter at Amish B Machine. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Instagram, Amish Baby Machine. And as far as wherever you listen to podcasts, we're there. We're on everything: Apple, Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora. It doesn't matter. This powerful podcast is there. And the reason we do it is for the fans. God bless you. Let's get back to powerful Mike Rez and Nitro Wave TC.
Love it.
Yeah. Yep. That was beautiful. Get some of our merch too, but definitely go get some of Dag's stuff.
Powerful.
Thanks, man. Yep. Love it.
So we were talking about new wave music, synth wave, dark wave. We were talking about the year 1984. So let's do a powerful transition into the movie that all three of us enjoyed, Red Dawn. Why don't you start us out, Mike Rez?
Well, where do I begin? Let's begin with what the heck Red Dawn is for those of you that don't know, and hopefully you didn't watch the 2012 remake.
Fail.
But
did you? It was bad. I saw they did it. I
didn't even have to watch it.
Well, here's the deal. It was supposed to be China, and right there I'll put in a powerful drop of China by Donald Trump. But
Let's say
anyway,
China.
It's supposed to be the Chinese, and then everyone got scared and changed it to the North Koreans. So right there, when they're changing the whole premise of the movie, I'm like, I'm done. So let's get back to 1984, Red Dawn.
All right. So 1984 Red Dawn is a movie about a small town, America, and where high school football reigns supreme in this little small town. And one day, as the kids are in, I believe it was first hour, all of a sudden the Russians and the Cubans come parachuting in and take over this small, tiny town. And a group of kids by the name of Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, Robert C. Howell, Leah Thompson, Darren Dalton, Jennifer Grey, Brad Savage, and Doug Toby all take refuge in the mountains and have to survive.
I'm going to jump in there a little bit, though.
Yeah.
Don't forget we have the powerful Powers Booth and Harry Dean Stanton.
Yep.
Powerful.
I'm glad you called up Powers Booth. That role that he played.
Isn't Powers Booth powerful?
He is. Is that where you got your name?
No, he was actually affected by this podcast.
Oh, okay. I can see that. Yeah. His character name. Yeah.
No, the first time I remember seeing Powers Booth was in the Jim Jones story. And you guys are going to need to go check that out.
Gosh.
The Jim Jones story.
Yeah, really? Jonestown stuff?
Yes,
no
powerful.
Kidding. Nice.
No, I'm not kidding.
Right,
his role was just incredible. That's the first time I saw him, and I'm like, whoa, this dude is the real deal.
Yeah. A lot of people will remember him as Curly Bill in Tombstone.
Well, bye.
Yeah.
Powerful Tombstone.
Yeah.
Nice.
And but he has a prominent role in this Red Dawn movie, actually. So
indeed.
Okay, so we're in first hour, we're in a small Colorado town.
Yep. And here comes the Russians and the Cubans come parachuting in.
And the Nicaraguans.
That's right, the Nicaraguans.
Yeah, don't forget about them. Yeah. Yep.
So and at this point, before the movie even starts, it tells you what actually led up to these events, and it was all triggered by a wheat harvest shortage in Russia, and that's what started the events. I don't know how you go from a wheat harvest shortage to taking over towns in America, but that's what we have here.
I think they said there was a socialist revolution in Mexico.
Yes,
that's right.
Powerful wheat harvest failed in the Ukraine, and then they had the coup d'etat in Mexico. You are correct.
Yeah. So, and then before you know it, these high school kids have to grow up really fast and head to the mountains and start their guerrilla warfare with an army of Cubans and Russians.
Now,
Wolverines. Mm-hmm.
Powerful Wolverines.
Yeah.
It's a feisty little animal.
Which gets brought up a lot in the movie, by the way, how feisty and little Wolverines are.
Yes. Much like Logan. It's a powerful animal. Now, Chris, what are your thoughts on this powerful 80s movie, Red Dawn?
Here's the deal. Started out, honestly, I wasn't quite ready to watch the movie. Started out in a little attack on American soil. Started going through it. And I realized Emilio wasn't in the movie. So I was a little bit sad about that at first, because usually if you get Charlie, I get Emilio. But long story short, they do give you a little bit older, a little more mature version of Emilio, the Patrick Swayze himself. And so I was satisfied once I got into it. I fired up the movie, and the American teenagers were getting shot up and chased around and imprisoned. And my partner, she was sleeping on the sofa. She wakes up and looks at me and goes, "What are you watching?" Red Dawn. And then she went right back to sleep and decided to skip the whole movie. But I mean, I'll admit I enjoyed it. It was like the Army brat pack, like Letterman's jacket meets camouflage. It was fun, So there you go.
Powerful. Originally there was going to be a hot love scene between Jennifer Grey and Powers Booth. Did you guys know that?
I did not know that. No, because Leah Thompson was the one that kind of had.
I meant Leah Thompson. I'm sorry. I meant Leah Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah, you saw that tension there, right?
Oh yeah, it was palpable.
Yeah, there was going to actually be some love making there.
Erica and Colonel Tanner, or whatever his name was. How about that?
Yeah.
You could sense it.
It was cool as though the director, John Milius. I mean, if you think of that guy's frickin' pedigree of what he did, I mean, he wrote the first two Dirty Harrys. He was a screenwriter on Apocalypse Now, Conan the Barbarian. Some powerful stuff.
It is. That's another. Conan also came out in 1984. So he was busy.
He was. It's amazing.
So there were a couple of cast members that were in The Outsiders that were also in this movie as well. Patrick Swayze and C. Thomas Howell were also in The Outsiders.
Yes.
So
The Outsiders, that was a powerful movie.
That was, yeah. And actually, C. Thomas Howell, for those who don't know, he plays Ponyboy. So he had a big role in that one. Did you guys notice? So there was some foreshadowing that went on during the deer scene when they go deer hunting for the first time, and they make Robert, who's C. Thomas Howell in the movie, they make him drink the cup of deer blood, and Charlie Sheen says to him, my dad always said once you drink deer blood, you'll never be the same. And that it was the turning point for his character, because he went from scared teenage kid to ruthless, let's go get him, adult pretty much. So
powerful bloodlust.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was.
So, Roberts, and he was the one, he killed Daryl, the one who swallowed the pill, was it, as well?
Yes. Yep. He's the one that killed
spoilers,
Daryl.
I'm terrible about that, but yeah.
Now.
Yeah, Bloodlust 84. If you haven't watched it by now.
Right. Yeah. Daryl. Go ahead. I was going to say Daryl his dad was the mayor of the town, and he snuck back into town without anyone knowing it. His dad turned him in, and they made him swallow a homing device or homing beacon, and that's how they found him up in the mountains near the end of the movie.
Much like Total Recall.
Much like Total Recall, you're right.
Wow.
Powerful way to pull it out his nose. Yeah.
That's
talk about another nightmare I had as a kid, right?
Tell us, you had a nightmare about Total Recall?
No, I was just joking about that one. That nose scene was pretty profound, though, I remember.
Hold on, don't ever joke about Arnold movies, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I won't go there again. My deepest apologies.
That's religious.
Yeah. Well, we may have to talk more about Arnold as well. I had deep affinity for that man's 90s work, especially. I love him.
Did you see my 80s work? My powerful Arnold voiceover?
Which one? You have so many of them.
What? How am I missing this?
You're going to have to check it out. It's on Twitter at Amish Bee Machine, also on TikTok. Got a couple videos up on the TikTok. It's a video of Arnold in quarantine with his little baby animals. He has little donkeys and ponies.
Nice. Right, nice. It's like going over to Mike's place.
It's almost like coming over to Mike's place. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, St. Paul. There you go. Man, very cool.
So back to Red Dawn. Out of 5 buggy wheels, I'm going to need each of you to give me a review.
I'm going to give it. We're going to give it 4 buggy wheels, only because some of the editing is kind of shoddy in it. It's typical 80s, 1984 action movie type editing. There are some holes you can see as it goes along, but it does get 4 buggy wheels because I can watch that movie anytime that it comes on.
Yeah, I'm with Mike on that one as well. I'm thinking somewhere 3 to 4 buggy wheels. I wouldn't give it the full 5. That's saved for Terminator 2, for example. Speaking of Arnold, no, but here it was a good movie. Actually, I did sit down a second time and watch some certain parts of it, which I enjoyed. It's hard for me to sit down and watch a full movie. And this got me to watch it almost uninterrupted. That in and of itself means a movie deserves at least 4 stars. 4 wagon wheels.
Now, what do you think if Arnold starred in that movie? How would that change the movie?
Man, I'll tell you what happened. They wouldn't have even invaded America, is what would have happened.
I think it would have been one person in the mountain, and it would have been Arnold, and he would have found a way to take out the entire army with a lot more explosions.
But in Red Heat, he was a Russian.
Oh, that's true.
Oh man,
he would have to find a way.
Okay, how about this? Check this out. Rambo versus Arnold. Arnold's one of the Russians.
Oh.
That's why this is the most powerful podcast ever created. It's ideas like this. Just let that sink in for a minute. Rambo versus Arnold.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna pass out.
Who would scream more? Or yell more?
There would be a lot of
guttural yell.
Yes.
Yeah. Low slung machine guns and pectoral muscles.
Yes. And
cigars.
And they both, Rambo and this movie Red Dawn, feature the powerful Hind helicopter. Those powerful armored helicopters.
That's true. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Although in Rambo, an RPG took one down. In this movie, an RPG in Red Dawn did not take one down. It just knocked a guy out of the side of the door, which was quite amazing, actually, if you think about it. So,
yeah.
Well,
it must have been a direct hit because he fell out one piece.
Well, you're thinking in First Blood, guy got knocked out of the helicopter too.
Yeah, you're right. He did.
A lot of helicopter porn.
Yeah. What was the name of the guy in First Blood? Was his name? I want to say Dalton, but that was like everybody's name in the 80s in action movies.
I'm going to need you to look that up right now, Mike Rez.
The name of the deputy? I don't know. Can you find the name of the deputy that fell out of the helicopter? Let's find out.
If you were a proper Google boy, you could.
Yes.
Powerful. So what is your, Chris, your quintessential 80s action movie then? T2, is that what you're saying?
Quintessential 80s. No, it's like 91, 92, so I can't really qualify that one.
Well, I consider anything that starts in the 80s though.
Yeah, I would say because what about Aliens? That was 79, I believe.
The original.
I'd love to throw that one out there. Yeah, Alien. Yeah, not Aliens. Alien. Yeah, throw that on there. 80s movies. So if I go back, you guys, I apologize, but I really love Tron. That's one of the first movies I remember. Straight up. Like, there's no other way about it.
Did you see it in the movie theater?
No. My dad brought it home on VHS or something like that on a Saturday in the winter.
Yes, so. You were too young.
Yeah. Yep. Wasn't going out yet. That and Ghostbusters, actually, now that you mention it. The soundtrack, that movie, I can't tell you how many times I watched that movie growing up. Countless. I can probably cite the whole movie, the script or whatever from heart now that I think about it.
Ray Parker Jr.
You got it, buddy. You got it. Preach right there.
It's a terrible music video.
Who are you gonna call?
I enjoyed Bobby Brown though in the second Ghostbusters on our own.
I saw Bobby Brown 2 summers ago at Northern Lights Casino up near Bemidji. It was kicking it old school. Flavor Flav was there. Bobby Brown. Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Oh my God! Was it awesome?
It was dope, is what it was. Yeah,
it wasn't horrible, that's for sure.
Some of the most fun I've had at a show in a while, to be honest with you. It was a good time. So yeah, casino parking lot.
Did you go with your lady friend, or who'd you go with?
No, I've got a buddy who lives up in the area. He owns a tree farm up there, and so he called me up and he's like, "This crazy thing's going on. You should really come check it out." So I hoofed it up there for a weekend. We hung out, spent the weekend fishing on the lake and going to rap concerts. It was wonderful.
Wow. Powerful. Did you find out, Mike Rez, who that character's name was?
Yeah, yes, I did. The name of the character that fell out of the helicopter in First Blood is Sergeant Art Galt.
Wasn't he an asshole?
He was according to Rambo Wiki, he was the second antagonist in the movie.
Yes, Sheriff Will Teasel was number 1.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, he just wanted, just let him be on his way. I don't know why they were hassling him.
Yeah, they started it. I mean, they really did.
They drew First Blood. None of that would have happened.
They drew First Blood. Right.
Bunch of bullshit.
One of my favorite scenes is when he survives the mine explosion.
Yes.
So That's badassery right there.
Very cool. Man, I need to probably, so this, before we met today, I pulled up my little notebook and I was writing down the names of movies that I had been meaning to catch up on. Like, I never finished It too. I read the book a bunch as a kid, a few times through, and I need to watch that. I added that movie Crawl to it. I added Child's Play, but some of this other stuff you guys are bringing up, add it to my list. I'm going to be a busy man.
Well, if this,
we got nothing but time.
If this this fake bullshit being cooped in our houses gets over with, I need to have a powerful party.
Now we're talking. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Now that Nitro Wave, we even have our own PA system, we might be able to really throw down. We'll piss the neighbors off. It'll be a good time.
You will address the public with your PA system.
Ooh, it'll be a good time. Absolutely. All right, it's settled. We'll announce it soon enough.
Yeah, I can't handle this. I'm a powerful extrovert.
You guys, this whole time we've been talking, I've been pacing in circles in my living room around myself, so I can't take it.
I know. Humans were not meant to be cooped up like rats. We're meant to be free.
I'm going to wear this carpet out.
Say, were rats meant to be free like humans?
Listen.
Yeah. You're going to get your ass kicked.
Yes.
I'm asking the questions that the flock needs answered.
Don't make me destroy you. We need
You're
to
lucky
be free.
We're quarantined.
Yes, we need to be free.
Oh my God.
This is my powerful microphone. It's kind of like Pump Up the Volume, that movie.
Oh, that's another good movie right there.
Yes.
You got to get that middle finger on air light in your barn dags.
Yes. Powerful. This has been a powerful episode. I want to thank Mike Rez from the powerful Mike Rez Radio. And Chris.
Thank you, Dags.
Chris, the powerful master, the mastermind. I'm going to give you all credit to Nitro Wave TC. How's that?
I'll take it today, but I'll deny that I actually accepted it later. I'll tell the whole group the nice things he said about it.
All right. Okay, if all your bands, if all you guys are all in the octagon, who wins in a fight?
In North Innsbruck every time. I don't fuck around. I don't know if I can say that on the show. My bad. You got me excited. It's at the second half of the show.
Yes,
we can do that.
It's powerful.
There we go. Yeah.
This is like listening to this episode, it's like testosterone replacement therapy. It's powerful.
Big time.
If you had low T before, you don't now. We're talking about Arnold. We're talking about Stallone, Red Dawn,
Is that what I'm feeling?
Yes, that's what you're feeling.
Nice. We're getting juiced here tonight on Amish Baby.
Yes.
I thought it was my beverage of choice, but now I know what it is.
No, Mike, I'm drinking water. So, yeah, exactly.
All right. Man. And until next time, guys, thanks for enjoying this episode. We'll see you. You've just enjoyed the Amish Baby Machine Pop Culture Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Amish Baby Machine Pop Culture Podcast. It is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and everywhere else fine podcasts are found. Please support our podcast through Patreon and shop our merch at AmishBabyMachine.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. This has been an Amish Baby Machine production.